Okay, so in case you missed it, it happened again. A boy recently took first place in a girls' competition in Maine. God bless these students and parents for speaking up.
I'm currently the junior captain of the Freeport High School soccer team. I also play varsity lacrosse, and I have also run track and field both here and at Deering High School. Let me be clear, I fully believe in protecting women's sports. I ran track and field, and I did pole vault. And I know firsthand how much strength and power it takes to compete. And I really think that's why the MPA failed here. They should have had policies in place to ensure that girls' sports remain fair. Instead, they let the situation, I think, spiral into chaos. And this isn't about left versus right. I don't think it's anything has to do with politics. It's just about fair competition. Two of our own lost a fair shot at a championship medal because an athlete who had competed in the boys division 2 years ago was allowed to compete in the girls pole vaulting, and I personally think that is not fair. But when the conversation shifts from protecting women's sports to publicly attacking a child, we lose focus. The outrage becomes the story instead of the real issue.
He's right on that one.
And we need solutions at this point, not any more social media outrage and not any more hate. I think the MPA, Greeley High School, and governing bodies must step up to protect girls' sports while also ensuring that no 16-year-old is ever thrown to the wolves like this again. At the end of the day, no child should have to become a martyr for this debate. We can do a lot better. Thank you.
That was good. And he's right.
Inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child
Wait.
that they
No. You can give, if you want something to share, you can share that with the superintendent and she'll make sure we get it. No, we also don't have recordings. If you want to speak, you're welcome to your 3 minutes, but we're not going to play a recording.
right.
Sorry.
It's fine.
part of our new credentials.
Pretty much just Trump explaining the executive order that he put out that you guys seem to just want to completely blow
God
off.
bless you, brother.
But this right here is a picture of a biological man that competed against women, that stole a championship from a young woman.
I have a
that
point of
worked.
order, Madam Chair.
Yep.
I believe this is out of order.
How is this out of order? I didn't say any names. I didn't say any names.
He's using a visual.
It's none of your business. Why are you interrupting? Second time.
So
That's out of order.
Okay. We don't, okay, guys.
How is this fair?
Okay,
This is
we're gonna take a 5-minute break to
my
pause. Yes, we are.
in charge.
It's okay.
So they can keep interrupting.
We are
like that.
going to, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. You will have your time, and we just need to relax here for a second.
They're the ones that's not relaxed. It's not us. We were respectful.
Wow. Messing up his speech.
I appreciate your indulgence in that. We will reset your 5 minutes. Excuse me, your 3
I'll take
minutes.
5.
We will reset your 3 minutes, and I'm just waiting for her to pull up her timer
No
here.
problem. You know, our biggest problem here right now, to deny the fact that it is a competitive advantage for biological men to compete against women. How is it fair for a young woman that spends all her childhood practicing? You know, you think they just wake up and become a state champion? No, that takes work. That takes effort to come in and get beat by somebody that placed 9th last year as a male. How do you, as a father, as a parent, how do you explain that to your daughter that she worked so hard to get beat by a man? How is that fair? You know, do you think that man practiced and worked just as hard as she did? Obviously not, because he placed 9th the year before. I mean, it's kind of common sense. I mean, just like the man spoke about military. I mean, the standard for women is completely different than the standard for men. Women have to do a different amount of push-ups compared to men. Why is that? Our bodies are built different. It's a competitive advantage.
That's a fact.
And you guys are going to die on this, and federal funding is going to come from all of our districts. What about low-income families that need this federal funding for free lunch, for after-school programs? You think the state funding is going to be enough for all that? The way Janet Mills is spending our money? Really? I mean, come on, guys. What are we going to do? When are we going to start thinking about our kids again? When are we going to go back to teaching again? We worry more about same-sex bathrooms and all this than we do worry about our test scores and everything else. When are we going to get back to teaching our kids what is right and what is wrong? And right now, this is wrong. And honestly, you guys are brainwashing these kids. That's exactly what you guys are doing. You're indoctrinating these kids. And I feel bad for every single one of them. Because when I was in school, this was not a thing. You did not walk down the school hallways and see a pride. You weren't celebrating what people did in their bedroom. You don't have a straight flag hanging up, do you? No. Because we don't celebrate what we do in our bedroom. That doesn't make somebody who they are. What makes somebody who they are is their character. You guys have a good night.
I would like to show my support for a team that rightfully earned its place in competition, only to have that opportunity taken away by an unfair policy that ignores the integrity of women's sports. Enough is enough. It is time for female athletes across Maine to take a stand against the Maine Principals Association and the governor's policies that are failing us. We have trained, we have sacrificed, we have played by the rules, yet we are being forced to watch as the rights and opportunities of female athletes are stripped away. If those in power refuse to protect fairness in women's sports, then we must make them understand the consequences of their decisions in the only way they seem to understand: through time, resources, money, and undeniable public pressure. For the past 3 years, I have competed in congressional debate, which is another organization governed by the MPA. Even in debate, there's a culture in the state of Maine that is anti-woman, and our own state judges making comments such as, "Your voice is too feminine. You would never be taken seriously if you continue to hold yourself that way. Your views are unreasonable." The fight is not just about one team, one championship, or one season. This is about every girl in the state of Maine who has ever laced up her shoes, stepped onto the field, prepared for a tournament, or poured her heart into a competition, believing that she had a fair shot. It is time to act. Show up for your games, your meets, and your tournaments. Be ready to compete, and then stand together in silent, unwavering protest. Let the empty scoreboards and unanswered whistles send a message loud enough to the MPA, our schools, and the state that they cannot ignore it. I believe that the board should take a public stand against the MPA and the governor's position. We are not just athletes. We are not just students. We are not just parents. We are fighters. Let's keep women's sports for women. Thank you.
And I'm here this evening to encourage the young women from the Freeport High School track and field team to speak out and to let their voices be heard. The decision to allow a biological male, John, transgender young woman, Katie, to compete as a female in the recent Maine High School track and championship is wrong. The biological young man is a newly transgender athlete competing in a sport where he clearly has a physical advantage. It doesn't seem that there was any consideration given by the MPA to where in the process the young man is in his actual transition. Just from the pictures that were recently posted on social media, and I'll be honest, they were hatefully done in some cases. It's an obvious young man, and he has a physical advantage inherent to males. Last year, he was on the podium as a male winner. This year, he topped the podium as a female.
You can't make this up.
And his victory was insubstantial. 8 inches in track is a huge margin for those of you who are unaware.
Whoa.
I ask you this: is it right to hurt the hundreds of other female pole vaulters who competed all season long to be denied because a transitioning student usurped them wholeheartedly? As a governing body, the MPA should have figured this out in advance. They should have at least considered it, because I guarantee you their decision made a huge difference to the person who finished second, the young lady who finished second, and even bigger to difference to the one who didn't medal at all. Because of this, for the record, whatever this young man wants to do is up to him and his family. Can you please silence him?
We're
Can I have my time back, please?
we're not shouting.
I'm sorry, I have a point of order. Are we supposed to be, is the public allowed to discuss individuals?
I don't, well, I think we're not talking names or any, oh, okay, yep, okay. There will be no names.
Can I have my time reset, please? And could we please ask the public to stop talking?
I did, thank you.
Can you please listen? Thank you.
We're directing comments to the board, not to other individuals in the crowd.
Yeah, but they've been disrespectful, ma'am.
I understand. We paused your time. I apologize for your interruption. And if you're ready, you have 48 seconds remaining.
And then also, just to clarify, point of order, the person who was the former board member, you allowed her to continue, but you asked somebody prior to that to finish up. So just be fair for everybody.
I am, when the time
I'm
goes
just
off.
letting you, no, you didn't say
Okay.
anything to that person.
All right, so your time is about to start. I tried to find a pause in the thought before I ask folks to finish up, regardless of the position that they're taking.
To me, this isn't a judgment call. It was just wrong to let the young man compete. I believe the MPA should at least develop some standards and/or tests. They already exist for elite athletes. Read the studies. Talk in terms of anatomy and psychology. Think about it rationally and I can never say the word, sorry. Not in a liberal conservative context, not in a political context. Just use some common sense. At the end of the day, we had an example with a volleyball player,
Common
a male
sense.
volleyball player, regardless if he was transitioning or not, slammed a ball into a young lady's face and broke, I believe, her orbital bone. Common sense. I was in the military. I served in the Gulf War, and our female American soldiers had to be masked up and always follow behind us. How is that equal? We couldn't get our pay, our danger pay, because we had female American soldiers with us. Think about that. We want to talk about being inclusive. Let's just say a certain mindset gets bullied by certain individuals. I was already bullied this evening because I have a different point of view. You want to talk about being inclusive, America being the soul of America? Well, let's think about it. Everybody should have a point of view. Everybody should be able to speak and be heard and not be bullied. What happened to being Christ-like? What happened to love your neighbor?
I'm deeply concerned and disappointed by the Maine Department of Education and RSU 5 district's decision to disregard federal protections and continue to push policies that strip our girls of the very opportunities that Title IX was created to protect, and frankly should never have been enacted in the first place. Title IX was designed to ensure fairness and equal opportunity for female athletes, not to be twisted into something that erases those protections. Allowing biological males to compete in women's sports is not inclusion. It's discrimination against the very girls that this law was meant to protect. As parents, we want fairness and equal opportunity for our daughters. We want them to compete on a level playing field. We want their hard work, their dedication, and their dreams to be valued, not sacrificed for political ideology. I urge this board to stand for truth, for fairness, and for the integrity of women's sports. Our girls deserve better. Thank you.
People who agree with me do not hate. We're looking for something different. We're looking for something called fairness, compassion. I'm going to tell you a story about a woman named Riley Gaines. Most of you have heard about her. Imagine that you have a daughter who's 18 years old. She's a national champion swimmer. She enters a contest, and amazingly, she ties a biological male, transgender. And they give the trophy not to her, but to the transgender. So she went to her coach and she said, "Why? How could you do this?" And he said, took her aside and said, "We have to be tolerant, we have to accept, we have to welcome DEI. Of course we know that men are stronger. We are bigger, our heart size is bigger, we have 40% larger lung capacity, our throats are bigger, and that's very important, very critical when you're in any kind of athletic endeavor." Well, to add insult to injury, when they took the picture of the trophy, they gave the trophy to the transgender and had her hold the trophy. And with tears in her eyes, Riley Gaines went to her coach, and this
We're going to ask that you don't specifically name students, regardless if they're in this district or not.
What are you talking about? She's a national figure.
Okay,
She's on TV all the time.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about...
Please give me my time back. Please give me some time. She went to her coach in tears. She said, I sacrificed 18 years of my life, my social connections, my diet, my practicing every day. How could you do this to me? And the coach just walked away. He said, I can't answer you. Again, he said something about being accepting. We talk about pain tonight. Think about the pain of these young women and girls who sacrifice so much to be put in a position that is completely unfair, completely unsafe. And we can't say, well, it only happens here and only happens there. It's happening everywhere. So please, when we talk about empathy, when we talk about compassion, let's go beyond the transgender community, who I have compassion for, and think about these young women and what they go through. I'd like to talk to the parents. I've noticed a lot of people here who are parents who disagree with me, and I understand that. But there are many parents who should be here, sticking up for their daughters, and they have to be brave. Out of all the virtues in this world, it is known, out of love, compassion, patience, courage, the most important one is courage. Because without courage, love will get you nowhere. And these men, and these women...
I think we have to wrap it up. Okay, no, we're not having a conversation in the crowd. Okay, enough. So...
I don't know what just happened. What happened?
I was just asking you to wrap it up because your time... We went over, we gave you a little bit of time back, but your time is up.
Okay. So, men... We are not asked to complete the task, but neither are we exempt from trying.
I have 3 young adult children who all participated in athletics in high school, but in a different school district, that competed against RSU 5. The Maine Principals Associations and the school board's decision to allow men to play in women's sports is a poor decision and one I ask you to rescind. First, it affects the safety of our students. Not only the students of RSU 5, but also it affects the safety of students from other school districts when they're competing against Freeport, Pownell, and Durham. The safety of our students should be our first priority. It's completely unfair to our female athletes to be forced to either compete with transgender athletes or not compete at all, or to give up championship titles to the biologically advantaged, to give up opportunities to shine athletically on a college application, and to stand on the podium and receive a medal. The number of transgender students who participate in athletics is but a very small percentage of the student population. Yet every single female student athlete is affected by the decision to allow men to play in women's sports. The biological male has an advantage over the female body in size, strength, and weight. Not only does this create safety concerns on the playing fields and courts, must I mention during hotel stays when the team travels, but it creates a safety concern for every single female in the locker rooms and in the women's bathrooms. Secondly, our schools cannot afford to lose funding from the U.S. government because of the decision to follow the Maine Principals Association's lead to disregard the federal ruling of Title IX. Our ranking in academics nationwide is already near the bottom. That's with the ever-increasing school budget. It seems the higher the budget, the lower the proficiency in our students' reading and math. How low can we go? Let's not find out. Let's not take a loss in school funding. Our priority should be what's best for our students as a whole, not what's best for the ultra minority. Allowing men to play in women's sports, it's dangerous, it's unfair to our female athletes, and I ask you to prioritize our female athletes' safety, return fairness to our female athletes, and keep men out of women's sports. Thank you.
Amen. Keep men out of women's sports. Yo, elections have consequences. People have to become informed voters. You have to be involved. I mean, as you can see, you expect people in charge to do the right thing, and all of a sudden, men are competing against women, and they are winning. You let me know what you think about this in the comment section. God bless these parents, and God bless President Trump. He is saving women's sports. God bless and protect you and your family. Catch you on the next one.